Hi, this is Emma the Misfit, and welcome to the channel. I'm going to not sit here for a long time trying to make this video a really long video. I'm just gonna say what's on my mind, and that's pretty much where I will end it. The Nashville tragedy that happened the other day, it's being covered on the news networks as, gun control that we need, red flag laws, all these things. Someone didn't sign something, and this is what led the person into spiraling. I don't know. Then comes the people that want to talk about this like it's about, the Christians. It's about God. It's about, what nobody's talking about? The mental health crisis that's going on. And the people responsible for it. And I know at the end of the day, it's this individual that was the one that decided to do what they did. That does not change the responsibility that so many people have that are continuously ignoring and making it seem like it's not their fault. Not their fault. Of course it's not their fault. It's nobody's fault but the person that actually ultimately took the lives of the other individuals, which I agree with. I agree with that. But let me be extremely clear. This is a mental health crisis. This is a mental illness issue that is not being treated as a mental illness issue. Gender dysphoria is a mental health issue that now all of a sudden they want to change it and make it seem like it's not, and whatever they want to do. Listen, okay? And I'm gonna be frank with you. This is not going to be a video me trying to be like politically correct, and if you're expecting that, you're not going to get it. I suffer from bipolar disorder. I wake up sometimes feeling like I don't belong in my body. I don't go to the doctor and tell the doctor, I need to change what's going on in my brain, so let me cut my arm off. Maybe that'll stop the insanity that's going on in my brain. If I was to say that, my doctor would literally say you need to be hospitalized until you're stable enough, because right now you're not thinking clearly. You're obviously not in a right state of mind, and she would be completely correct. She would be completely correct. But now in our society, we have become so tolerant, or I don't know if it's tolerance, I don't know if it's weakness, or just afraid of being canceled. I don't know what it is, but the mental issue aspect of this situation is just where nobody talks about. Nobody's talking about it. Feeding the delusion of these individuals. Because that's exactly what's going on. You're feeding into the delusion. Telling them that chopping off their bits, telling them that putting them on medication is going to make them happy. And I'm going to tell you something. As a person that suffers from bipolar disorder, that went through severe depression that almost killed her, okay? There is no pill, no medication, no therapy, nothing that will make you just happy. There's nothing there that's just gonna make you happy. I want you to remember that mental illness is an attack on your mind. It's an illness, it's whatever they want to call it, it's a chemical imbalance, all this stuff. But you know what it feels like for a person that has mental illness, that suffers from depression? It feels like a cage. A cage, a prison in your own body. That's what it feels like. It took me over 15 years for me to get out of that severe depression. It's taken me 20 years to try to get myself anywhere close to the resemblance of the person I once was. Because that person's long gone. It's a battle I have to face every single day. I get up in the morning, I have to deal with it. In the afternoon, I have to deal with it. All day long. Somewhere along the line in our society, it became normal to feed these delusions. And it angers me because at the end of the day, the ones that are getting hurt and the people that are suffering are these people that you continue to coddle. You continue to tell them, feed them a fantasy that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. You know what you can do to try to help their politicians? Talking heads on CNN and all these other networks. You know what you can do? All you blue check marks on Twitter. You know what you can do with your huge audiences? Try to help the mental health community. Do you know how expensive some of these antipsychotics are? Do you know how expensive therapy is? Do you know how little group therapy there are in every single city and state? You want to talk about helping? Why don't you help them? You're making this into a gun issue. You're making it into a political issue. No, it's a mental health issue that's completely being ignored. If you see a person sitting on a subway and they're just sitting there talking, having a whole entire conversation to themselves, what would you do? I guarantee majority of you would move away from them. I don't want to be near that crazy person. How about if he just snaps, starts stabbing everybody? I don't want to be near that. Let me just go over here and sit here. But you know what's not helping? That same attitude. Because you're feeding the delusion that someone might be having, and they might not be talking to themselves on a subway, but they're internally battling the fight. And instead of helping them, you're trying to give them solutions, not to help them. Let's not kid ourselves. It's not to help them. I don't know if it's a selfish desire. I don't know if it's to score political points of tolerance. I don't know what your deal is. But what I do know is that many people are going to suffer because of this. And many people are not going to seek the help that they need because of this. And you are all to blame. You're all to blame. You don't want to mask yourselves. You don't want to sit there and say proudly that you're the ones advocating for this. Then stop the delusion. Stop the delusion. Because that's what you're doing. You're masking this turd, this BS that you continue feeding to these individuals as some sort of happiness. And that's not what it is. At the end of the day, I have to get up every single day and fight. I have to fight the depression. I have to fight the bipolar. I have to fight every single moment of the day, my own mind. I came up with good coping skills. I try to do different strategies. I meditate. I am actively, constantly fighting my mental illness because I know that all it takes is for me to allow it to engulf me and I am lost. I know how powerful it is. And I know that it's my own will to continue fighting it that is keeping me with my sanity in place. But I don't like what I see. I don't like when I look at people and individuals when they're constantly trying to just blame. It's just the guns. It's just this. It's the lawmaker that signed this and made this illegal. If you truly cared about these individuals, you would stop feeding the delusion. And that's coming from a person who suffers from mental illness. You need to have someone bring you back down. Mental illness is not a joke. It's completely underfunded. It's completely ignored. The medications are expensive. Therapy is expensive. Some therapists charge $235 an hour for a 45-minute session, by the way, in case you're wondering. Because a person that has mental illness issues that can hardly hold a job can afford $235 an hour for a 45-minute session. Oh, and this is the best part about that. Most of the therapists don't even take insurances. How do you like them apples? Oh, but what about Medicare for All and Medicaid? Because I love that one too. I love when people say that to me. And I can tell you 100% that's another BS argument. Because you have to see that most of the therapists on there won't participate because they're getting nothing. Well, of course they're not going to get nothing. They're getting paid like a flat rate when they can be making $235 an hour for 45 minutes. Are you kidding? And again, most insurances don't cover it completely. This is a problem that they should be talking about. You guys should be talking about this. Coming up with mental health programs, coming up with type of therapy problems, like alternatives. But that's not what's being talked about. In case you haven't noticed, it's all about guns. It's all about gendered ideology. It's all about this. It's all about that. It's everything other than the mental health issue. And from a person, again, who suffers from mental illness, I reject it all. Because at the end of the day, I know what it is like. Maybe not to suffer exactly gender dysphoria, but I know what it's like to have a mental illness. And I know what it's like to fight it every single moment of every single day. And I'm so tired of people telling me that they care and doing this and doing that, but really not doing anything. You want to be the change? Come up with solutions. You want to do something? Try to help these individuals. Try to help them. I hope, I really, really do hope in my lifetime that we can come up with solutions to try to help the mental health community. I really do. This is exactly why I'm a mental health advocate. I try to incorporate it as much as I possibly can in every single conversation because I just don't think it's talked about enough. And instead of people supporting that, it's still about everything other than what it really is about. And you can paint that turd all kinds of colors, but it's still just a turd. These are just my own thoughts. I hope you all have a wonderful day and have a wonderful, blessed week. Remember, you're not alone. We are not alone. I found my strength in God, and I hope you find yours. Just knowing that you are not alone on this journey. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and share this video. I will talk to you guys soon.